You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis.
I am HO Talk Show. We still here, still standing, y'all. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor, AA Ron, and 434-422-9101. I am HO Talk Show online. Hit us up, man. Let us know. Inboxes, whatever you want to do. We'll keep the good conversation going, keep it moving. And so, as promised, we are joined now by none other than Dr. Sherica Jones-Lewis of the UVA Equity Center. She is the director of community research, and so we are delighted to have you, Mrs. Jones-Lewis.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yep. And so we do still have Giles on the line from Seville tomorrow, partner and friend there. And so the UVA Equity Center, we're going to just jump right into it. Wanted to make sure that the folks were reintroduced and introduced to others exactly what goes on there as far as the goals currently, with you being there now, as well as resources for people to look out for and sort of just what it is. So let's start there. UVA Equity Center, for those new to it, give us the background on that.
So basically, the UVA Equity Center was set up to try to undo some wrongs. So UVA is moving in the right direction where they're able to recognize that the university has not always treated the people who live in and around Charlottesville the way that they deserve to be treated. Mm-hmm. And so the mission of the Equity Center is to tangibly redress racial and economic inequity in the university community. So that not only includes Charlottesville and Albemarle, but all of these surrounding counties as well. And so when you think about what that transformation looks like, basically we are looking to change not only the values of the university, but as well as their thoughts and most importantly, their operations. So how does the university interact with the community, especially in regards to research and resources. Mm-hmm. And so the UVA Equity Center is part of the Center for Community Partnerships. Mm-hmm. And we have an office in the old Albemarle Hotel on Main Street. It is the big yellow building. There's actually a CBD shop on the bottom floor, so that is pretty easy to find, but we are located up on the fourth floor, and the Equity Center is the anchor institution for that space.
Nice. It's a big smile on your face, Giles. Like, some people that you could just say, yes, it's just right above the CBD shop. Well, you smiled there.
Go get your mind right.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so that's good stuff. Like, so
they're getting ready to flip those CBD shops into something else in the next year or so.
Yeah, buddy.
State, I think so.
Yeah, stay tuned, right? But no, all right. So with that mission, so how are you guys going to do that? How are you going to achieve that goal? Like, what is it that you have for the community, and how do they get in contact with it?
So one thing that I really want to highlight is the values of the Equity Center. So we are really centered around looking for authentic partnerships. And so very often the university has come to community members kind of in an all-knowing way, like the people at the university have all of the knowledge and they are just blessing people with it. And we are here to recognize that that is not the case, that there is a lot of knowledge that exists within the community. And we not only need to integrate that knowledge, but many times that knowledge should be at the forefront and should be highlighted. We are also all about shared power. And sharing power, not only in the collection of research and data, but also the dispersion of that data after analysis has been done. We also focus on making sure that things are mutually beneficial and that we are also growing our youth. We understand that there is some repair, lots of repairs to be done with some older folks, but also that if we are going to make meaningful change, we have to work from both ends, both with people who have been in the community a long time and are longstanding residents, as well as youth residents who can grow and really make things better. So right now, The Equity Center, it has two great opportunities to offer. One of them is our Community Fellows in Residence program. And so basically with that program, we have fellows and they get awards of $5,000. And that money is able to be used to complete a project that works towards racial or economic inequity in the university communities. Again, priority for that would be given to someone in the Charlottesville or Albemarle area, but we do not exclude the surrounding counties as well. Those projects may be similar to some of the projects which we have going on now. For example, Destiny Wright, one of our fellows, has a Black Business Directory, which she is working on making digital in terms of having a website and an app. And she is actually working with some of our other fellows to grow out her database of information. We have Libby Edwards Alba, who is working with the 100 Black women of the Charlottesville metropolitan area to deliver economic advice through her Sisternomics program. We have Myra Anderson, and Myra has been working on trying to meet the mental health needs of the Black community in Charlottesville, as well as Tanisha Hudson with her podcast series. So that's one of the opportunities that we have to offer. That application is due on December the 1st. And before anyone starts to freak out about that date being so close, it is a short, quick, easy application on purpose. We do not want to create any unnecessary barriers. And if people need help to fill out the application, then they can email us at the equitycenter@virginia.edu. We also have community research grants, and those grants are looking for projects that promote equity through data. So these grants are $10,000, and they are for community-based organizations and nonprofit orgs or independent researchers in Charlottesville or the other counties. And this grant money is to either create data or to use data that's already existing in order to address racial or economic inequity. And the only specifications are basically that that folks who get the grant would share with us kind of midway how things are going, and then share with us at the end how things went based on how they used those monies. Again, that application is due on the 1st. It is quick, it is easy, it is meant to be so. We really want to try to use this money to infuse the community with the resources necessary to make good trouble. Yeah.
Now, good trouble. That's good stuff. So now I know, with some folks are going to miss their deadlines. Like, so what are the intervals of these? Are these annual or what?
So the Community Fellows in Residence program is annual. The other grant is not annual. We did award a similar grant last year. And so we are giving 4 $10,000 grants this year. We do not anticipate that specific opportunity will repeat, but others will. And even for those who think, oh no, that is really too close, there's no way I can pull together the application, I would encourage them to visit the Equity Center website and to just take a look at the application. It is really not formidable, and it is something that can definitely positively be done.
Ms. Lewis, Mr. Simmons, Ron. 2 questions for you. The first question is that for this particular program, are you guys modeling it after any other already instituted programs that you've seen at other universities around the country, or are you guys trying to be the particular model so maybe this work can get done in battling racial inequity and white supremacy all across the country? And my second question for you is, as an educator, someone that's been in the field, when you stepped into this position, were there any things that made you start to go, wow, looking at the data, I knew it was bad, but I didn't know that this is how white supremacy, racial inequity had kind of worked once you start to get closer to the data? Because the reason why I'm asking is a lot of times we put these programs together and we really appreciate all the work you guys are doing, but we really don't know in depth of how much has really the communities have been impacted by some of these policies, the inequities, the white supremacy. So I want you to just talk about those two things, if you can remember.
Sure thing. So to your first question, the Community Fellows in Residence program is modeled after some similar programs at some different universities. Okay. How ours is different, though, is that we really provide a lot more kind of wraparound support. So, for example, our fellows have office space in our Main Street office. They get access to grant writing, they get access to program evaluation, they get access to a faculty mentor, they are able to audit a class at the university, and all of that is things that you might see at other universities. I think that how we differ and how we are trying to be a standout and serve as a model is that we also offer anything else, right? So anything else that may be a barrier, our fellows can come to us and say, I really need help with this, and we are there to support them. Now, you mentioned my being an educator, and I think that is where this really comes in, is that we understand that we can set up things, again, as a university, thinking that we know what people need, but without the flexibility to differentiate for what people actually need in the moment, things just don't work. Right. And so that is how our program is different and looking to set the example. To your second question, are there things that I didn't know? I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say that as an inquisitive person and especially as someone who likes data, there are many things that I knew, but not as many. But I think that my epiphanies have come in figuring out ways to make actual change. So I tend to be very action focused, as well as the other people who work in my office. I am blessed to work with Dr. Ben Allen, who is our executive director, Lucy Montalvo, who is our program manager, Sarah Medley, who is an amazing grant writer, and Barbara Brown Wilson, who is our faculty mentor, as well as many others who just are really supportive in the efforts at the Equity Center. And so we definitely try to focus on, yes, this is the problem, but we are not interested in talking about the problem over and over and over and over. Exactly. We are interested in what actions can we take, what can we put in place to systematically address said problems. For example, before school started, we were noticing that there were lots of gaps between those folks who had the resources, the time and the money to be able to get their brains wrapped around their students learning at home. And so we worked with a lot of other folks, including the folks at Youth Next and other folks in the Candid network, in order to create a website that pulled together all of the resources that we knew were available to support people. Again, Is that a big fix? No, but it's a fix that lots of people needed, right?
Yeah.
We will oftentimes have people to contact us with needs, and we try to be very careful that we are not just putting out fires, but we are making sure people have their own water. And when I say that, I am meaning to say that we can problem solve all day, but if we are not fixing the things that led to the problems,
Right.
we will continue to have those same problems. So our work is slow, but it is steady. And like I said, we are making good trouble.
Hey, Sherica, this is Max. So first of all, I definitely want to commend the work that you do. Since I've met you, I know you have been intentional about giving back and contributing to the Black community. And so this is just, an extension of that. So thank you. Going back to some of your initial comments about the university recognizing their contribution to the inequity in the area. Again, certainly something like that sounds admirable. I know that people can tend to also question, diversity office and saying that, we're doing this type of work when that ideology or whatnot doesn't actually permeate from the top down. And so I think that with the community, being really distrusting, I think of the university, and I think of white people in general, that is a precaution of theirs, right? The other thing that I wanted to bring up is that a number of the people that you mentioned that were participating in the Fellows program are people that I recognize and people that I know are doing a great work. Not to say that they can't, what you're offering isn't a springboard for them and they can't benefit even more so. But then I know that you have just a regular, ordinary community members who says, okay, you're trying to contribute or reverse the inequities here, then UVA buying a lot of land and we need some housing, or are you giving away, tuition-free, scholarships yet, or et cetera, et cetera. So while what you're doing sounds great, I know that there's people out there that says that doesn't do anything for me when I'm really struggling day to day. And so I wondered whether or not, what you had to say about that, but whether or not there was anything in the pipeline that reaches, and this may come out bad, but the people on the bottom, so to speak, that touches them and increases their quality of life.
So that is a really good question. What I would say is that I tend to not differentiate between people. I mean, people are people. What I will say is that the discussion that we often have at the Equity Center is what people need, right? And so do people need opportunity or do they need finances, right? And in general, people need both, right? You cannot just give people finances without the opportunity so to actually seize those finances and to do something with them. For example, if there was a business owner who wanted to grow their business and needed a bigger space, it would be easy for someone to give them the money to have a bigger space. But with that larger space, they would also need more time, right? And how do you buy time? People have to have childcare. People have to be able to get to and from work. You can give people the opportunity to attend UVA. One could even fund it. But again, do they have a laptop? Do they have access to high speed? Do they have childcare? Do they have a mentor? So these are the conversations that happen in our office. Now, the Equity Center has been in existence since 2018. So we are very, very new, and most of our time has been during the pandemic, right? And so we are working to move slowly but intentionally. So we do not have quick fixes for people, because we don't think that those are the types of things that work. If the Equity Center were in a space where we were promoting scholarships, it would be also scholarships with all of these other things that would allow people to actually take advantage of those scholarships. So at this point, that is where we are, is in the creation phase. But as we get there, we also know that there are people who are past the ideation phase, right? Who have the opportunity and need the funds, and so we are trying to give that to those people. I'm hoping that answers your question, but you can ask me in a different way if it didn't.
No, that's good.
Cool.
This is Giles, Sherica.
Hey, Giles,
sorry.
Real quick. Let's just take a quick break, because we've been at it, but then we'll come back, and I know you and Reza had a question. We'll wrap up with her. But yeah.
Oh yeah, she ain't getting off the hook yet. I'm over
but
here.
No, but thank you, Sherica, and good information. And I think this is presenting the Equity Center, to the public in a way where I think they otherwise were not aware. So no good doubt. Good stuff. So stick with us, and we'll be right back to wrap up with Dr. Sherica Jones-Lewis of the UVA Equity Center. IMH Show Talk Show. We're still here, y'all, as promised. And remember, 434-422-9101, IMH Show Talk Show online. You can't miss it. You can't miss it. It's Charles, it's Max, it's Razor, it's Aaron. Giles Morris of Seville tomorrow, and our special guest right now, Dr. Sherica Jones-Lewis, Director of Community Research at the UVA Equity Center. So Giles, wanted to kick it over to you real quick. You had a comment, and then I think Razor had a question.
Oh yeah, no, I was just going to say, I think how important is what Sherica's talking about in the center and her work, and the fact that there is a front door for unifying the relationship, at least at some level, to UVA faculty research to its outcomes on the ground in Charlottesville. But I guess I also wanted to say it was interesting from the community side watching this whole thing play out, right? And where the Equity Institute was kind of got a $500,000 grant to sort of try it out to see if it was going to be one of the main institutes that President Jim Ryan built the future of UVA on. We're still waiting for some of those to be rolled out, because COVID really disrupted a year in which we were expecting a lot of those things to happen. But it was like there was this fanfare around the UVA Community Working Group, and all the nonprofit who's of UVA and the double who's who work locally, and all of them on one committee to figure out how to mend this relationship. And then that stuff really kind of faded to black last fall. And in the spring, we were expecting a big announcement from the Equity Institute on multi-year funding and this and that, a unified front door for locals to interact with the university around equity issues. And that really didn't play out. And so here we are now, and because people think, is Kevin McDonald, is he the one to rule them all? And we go through his office, or we go, UVA is a very sparse hierarchy, and it always has been. And so who is making sure that the Curry School and the Law School and the Data Science Institute and the Faculty of Arts and Sciences and all these different groups are interfacing with sort of one identity to the community around equity issues. So, kudos to the faculty who really fought hard, Barbara Brown Wilson, among them, but they had a real group of the people whose hard work and research was already there, leading this and fighting for it. And I think that there was a long fight about the funding, and that everyone wasn't happy. But thank God there's an office and there's a front door, and there's local people who understand the place and the issues running something now, and they're connecting research to resources. And if that's the start. But please keep pouring money into it. right? You know, it cannot be 8 people on the second floor in a building when you have a university of that size with the history it has with its local community.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Razor.
Yeah. Firstly, I want to thank Dr. Lewis for coming in here. She's another fine example of the African American women leadership that the city has that hasn't always got their just due. When it comes to the people that you were naming, the fellows that's there, I noticed that all of them were African American females. And I wanted to ask, was that strategic, or have y'all not found, and you might not want to say it like this, qualified men to step into those roles and play their part?
That's a really good question. And I would say that I was not part of the selection process last year because I did not work for the Equity Center. The fact that all of them are African American females, I think is happenstance. And I would encourage males and not just African Americans, right? Like males of all colors. We really want to also engage the Latinx community. We are about all types of equity. And so when people apply, their applications will be looked at justly, and whether they're male or female will definitely not matter.
Okay, because I was going to come in there talking like Tony Montana. Looking like Beanie Siegel.
Y'all make sure y'all look at Razor's resume very clearly, okay?
Is he doing his application on his phone? Is he doing his application on his phone?
Yes, indeed. I'm coming for that bag.
Just tell him we'll call you back next week.
Okay, man. I'll be waiting on your call.
But Dr. Jones-Lewis, anything else you want to leave us with? I definitely let the folks know one more time what those 2 upcoming opportunities are.
Right. So the first is the Community Fellows in Residence program, and that application is due on December the 1st. It is short, it is sweet, and it is on our website. If you just Google the Equity Center UVA, you will find the site. And the second is community research grants promoting equity through data. And both of those are really open, and they are purposefully open. This is not the end, is what I would say to kind of end this conversation. We understand that there is much more to be done, but we also understand that we need to start somewhere. I am a person who definitely likes to think about glows and grows, and frankly, a glow is that we are doing something and really trying to engage the community properly, with respect. And a grow is, goodness gracious, we have so much more to do, but we recognize that, and we are looking forward to moving forward in a positive manner.
Thank you.
Good work.
Thank you. Y'all have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right.